Quarterback and wide receiver duos are dominating the NFL. In recent years, we are beginning to see more and more teams pay serious money and give up a lot of draft capital to acquire a true number one wide receiver. Teams are beginning to realize that by adding a star wide receiver, they can elevate the performance of their offense exponentially. However, this strategy hasn't worked for everyone. Just ask the Cleveland Browns. When the Browns traded for Odell Beckham Jr. in 2019, everyone was shocked. Pairing Odell with Baker felt like it was just the move that the Browns needed to put that offense over the top. We all know that it didn't work out between the Browns and Odell, as Odell was released in 2021 after only 3 seasons with the team. But as for the 5 duos on this list, they had the opposite effect, with some immediately putting their teams into Super Bowl contention. So without further ado, here are my top 5 wide receiver and quarterback duos. Starting off, I have Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. In his rookie season, Justin Jefferson broke Odell Beckham's rookie receiving yards record. And now, Jefferson is already the best receiver in the league in just his 2nd season in the NFL. So it's safe to say that he started his career off on a high note. He's also been Kirk Cousins' go-to guy, as 66% of Jefferson's receptions have gone for first downs. Kirk has also been to back-to-back Pro Bowls since he's had Jefferson as his number 1 receiver. However, I don't have them higher on this list because they have yet to win a playoff game together in Minnesota. But they are still a great duo without a doubt, and it will be exciting to see what they will do together in their 2nd season in Kevin O'Connell's offense. So even though they haven't had the postseason success that the other guys on this list have, they still have put up tremendous numbers in the past 2 seasons and still have a lot of room to improve. So I have to give credit where credit is due, and that is why they are 5th on this list. Up next, I have Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. Leading up to his 3rd season in the league, there were a lot of question marks surrounding Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, especially when it came to his ability to throw the football at a high level. In his 2nd season in the league, Hurts completed only 61.3% of his passes, which ranked 26th in the NFL. The Eagles' passing offense was also ranked in the bottom 10 of nearly every major statistical category. Plus, the Eagles got absolutely embarrassed by Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in the wild card round by a score of 31-15. So it was clear, if the Eagles wanted to put themselves into the class of the elite teams in the NFL, they had to make a move. So the Eagles shocked the NFL world when the news broke that they traded for Pro Bowl wide receiver AJ Brown. The Eagles traded a 1st-round pick and a 4th-round pick to the Titans in return for their star wide receiver. AJ Brown's impact on the Eagles' passing offense was immediate, as in his 1st season, the Eagles were a top 10 passing offense in the league. And Jalen Hurts posted career highs in completion percentage, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and passer rating. And not only that, AJ Brown also had personal career highs in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, all in just his 1st season with the Eagles. Adding a dynamic passing attack didn't only help the Eagles on the stat sheet, but in the wins column as well, as the Eagles went 14-3 and went all the way to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately for the Eagles, they failed to get past the Kansas City Chiefs in the big game, but it was clear that the addition of AJ Brown elevated the play of Jalen Hurts. Hurts went from an exciting but inconsistent player to being considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league. This duo will be electric for years to come, and the fact that both Hurts and Brown had career years in just their 1st season together should bring a lot of excitement to Eagles fans. Next up, I have Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. In Tua's first 2 seasons in the league, he was not living up to the hype that surrounded him coming out of Alabama. Tua almost looked scared in the NFL. He wasn't playing with confidence and wasn't even attempting to push the ball down the field. And the numbers could prove it. In 2021, Tua was only 23rd in yards per attempt and was 29th in yards per game. There were even questions of the Dolphins moving away from Tua and making a trade for Deshaun Watson. Not only that, they even went as far as trying to get Tom Brady to go to Miami. All while this was going on, Tyreek Hill was establishing himself as one of the most explosive playmakers in the league with the Kansas City Chiefs. In the 2022 offseason, Tyreek Hill was negotiating a new contract with the Chiefs. However, the Chiefs weren't looking to pay Tyreek the money that he felt like he was worth. This led to him requesting a trade. Instead of making a move for a star quarterback, the Dolphins decided to make a splash and trade for Tyreek Hill, a trade that involved Miami giving up 6 draft picks to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Dolphins then signed Hill to to a 4-year contract worth up to $120 million. So it's safe to say the Dolphins invested a lot into Tyreek Hill. Well, the investment began to pay off immediately as Tua started to play with confidence. In his first season with Tyreek Hill, Tua looked like a completely different quarterback. Tua went from 29th to 5th in the NFL in total passing yards per game. And he also was first in terms of yards per attempt and first in passer rating as well. It was a complete turnaround. Tyreek also had a career best in receptions and receiving yards as he caught for over 1,700 yards on the season. Adding Tyreek Hill to this Dolphins offense went together like bread and butter. Now the only question moving forward is Tua's ability to stay healthy. If Tua can stay consistently healthy, this duo will terrorize NFL defenses for years to come. At number 2, I have Josh Allen and Stefan Diggs. In his first 2 seasons in the NFL, Josh Allen struggled quite a bit, only completing 51.8% of his passes in his first 2 seasons. He was wildly inaccurate. Inaccuracy and inefficiency was the most common criticism surrounding Josh Allen during the draft process, and it seemed as though it was coming true in the NFL. However, despite being dead last in the league in completion percentage and only 30th in terms of pass yards per game, Josh Allen and the Bills stumbled into a 10-6 record and a playoff appearance. A playoff game where the Bills would get heartbroken in overtime against the Houston Texans. Meanwhile, Stefan Diggs was beginning to make a name for himself as one of the best young wide receivers in Minnesota. In fact, Diggs was the man who scored the game-winning touchdown in one of the wildest endings to a playoff game in the history of the NFL, the Minneapolis Miracle. It seemed Diggs had a home in Minnesota. However, in 2019, Diggs would see a steep drop in his targets as Minnesota became a more run-heavy offense. This made Diggs very unhappy, so he decided to ask for a trade. The Bills were desperate to find a star wide receiver and elevate their passing offense, so they went all in and traded a first-round pick and 3 other mid to late-round picks to acquire Diggs. Not only did Diggs have career highs and lead the NFL in receptions and receiving yards in his first season with the Bills, Josh Allen made unprecedented amounts of improvement. Allen went from dead last in the league in completion percentage to 4th in the entire NFL. Not only that, but Josh Allen was top 5 in the NFL in touchdowns, yards per attempt, and passer rating. And his yards per game went up from 193 to 284 yards per game. For this kind of improvement to happen in only one offseason is insane. Since the Stefan Diggs trade, the Bills have a 37-12 record and are the highest scoring team in the NFL since 2020, putting Diggs and Allen amongst the most dominant quarterback and wide receiver duos in the league. Now, the absolute best quarterback and wide receiver duo in the NFL has to be Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. It's almost as if these two can telepathically communicate on the field. But what's even crazier is that there were a lot of people, including myself, who thought the Bengals made a huge mistake when they drafted Jamar Chase. Let's rewind to 2019. Joe Burrow has the best season in the history of college football at LSU, as he throws for over 5,600 yards and 60 touchdowns, wins the Heisman Trophy, goes undefeated, and wins the national championship game. And guess who he was throwing the ball to? That's right, Jamar Chase. And despite also having Justin Jefferson on the team, Jamar Chase led the LSU Tigers with over 1,700 yards receiving and a ridiculous 20 touchdowns on the season. So it's safe to say Chase and Burrow developed quite the connection in college. Then, in 2020, the Bengals drafted Joe Burrow with the #1 pick in the draft as they looked to make him their face of the franchise. However, Cincinnati was far from a good situation for a young quarterback. The offensive line was horrendous as Joe Burrow was sacked 32 times in only 10 games in his rookie season. But it was in week 11 against the Washington Commanders that Joe Burrow would suffer a season-ending knee injury. After getting an MRI, it was confirmed that Burrow tore his MCL and ACL and would have to undergo surgery. So going into the 2021 offseason, the objective for the Bengals was a clear one. Make sure Joe Burrow comes back healthy and try to find a way to make sure he doesn't get hit like that again. Going into the 2021 draft, the Bengals held the 5th overall pick. it seemed like a no-brainer that they would select Penei Sewell, offensive tackle from Oregon. Even though he's had a quiet start to his career in Detroit, Penei Sewell was a very highly touted prospect coming out of college. I mean, what better way to protect a young Joe Burrow than to draft a 6'4", 331-pound mountain of a man? But then reports started coming out that the Bengals were interested in reuniting Joe Burrow with his old college teammate Jamar Chase. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, what a huge mistake that would be. I mean, it seemed unprecedented to say that the Bengals should pass on Sewell, but wow, I could not have been more wrong. In their first season together in the NFL, Jamar Chase would rank top 5 in both receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. And Joe Burrow would lead the league in completion percentage and rank 2nd in the NFL in passer rating, all in just his first season back after a catastrophic knee injury. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase would make it all the way to the Super Bowl just in their first season together. The connection between these two has now had immense levels of success in college and in the NFL, and that's a big reason why they're number 1 on this list. Hey everyone, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it will go a long way in helping me grow this channel for you. And let me know the wide receiver and quarterback duo that you're looking forward to the most this season. Also, if you have any ideas as to any videos that you would like to see me make, let me know in the comments section as well, because I want to make sure that I'm making content for you. Thank you all so much again for watching, and I'll see you next time.